Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Bagley, and I'm going to be reviewing some brief information for you regarding special education. Before the 1970s, special education in America was pretty non-existent. Most parents were left to either have their student with disability put into a private education system or be homeschooled. In some of those situations, that would leave the parents to be the sole teachers that would teach their students when they weren't properly educated or able to give them the help that they needed. So in 1975, the United States created the Education for All Handicapped Children Act. This really helped to set up what we know as special education in America today. We later on named this act in 1997 the Individuals with Disabilities Act, or IDEA. This is what we now know as the standard of special education. This really helps to give funding to schools for appropriate special education programs. It helps to give parents resources that they need. It helps to really define what special education is and how special education can help a student. In many cases, it can help the parents just even get their child identified as special education so that they are getting resources and the help that they need to be as successful as possible in their classrooms and in school. In about 2004, there was another great revision to IDEA, just coming out with more help for parents and more individualized list of rules of what we need to do. It's really the standard that we use as special educators to ensure that all of our children are getting the help and resources that they need. Along the way, there's been some really important court cases that we have seen help shape special education in America. One of those biggest cases was the Board of Education versus Rowley. This was about a young deaf girl who was doing pretty well academically. She used an FM hearing aid as well as could read lips and had a tutor a few times a week to help with her education. But the parents felt that she was falling behind in her education and that she needed to get a little bit more help. So they ended up suing the school board, and eventually this case went to the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court cited the free appropriate public education, saying that having a tutor wasn't necessarily an appropriate thing that needed to happen because the student was doing okay academically. She had a provided hearing aid, she had the tutor, so they ruled in favor of the school board, saying that there was not an appropriate need to have the sign language interpreter in the classroom with her at all times. Another big case was Honig versus Doe. This was in 1988. This was a case that actually was about two boys with disabilities who were suspended for physical and verbal outbursts, and were actually taken out of their learning situation while they were being considered for expulsion. This was in California, but under law they should not have been removed from their education setting, and so the parents sued. Again, the case went to Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the parents of both boys, saying that the California Board of Education didn't do everything they needed to help these students and get them the proper help that they needed. They just went straight to expulsion, which was not the answer to the situation. Along with some great facts and things like that, there are some amazing resources out there for both teachers and parents. One of them being autismspeaks.org. This is a fantastic resource for parents that need a little bit of extra explaining, or just even questions that they might have on basically autism, but other disabilities as well. Another one is the Learning Disabilities of America. This is LDAamerica.org. This gives huge information about the different acts that there are, resources for parents to research the acts, as well as teachers to stay current and up to date. One here specifically in Oregon to use is Fact Oregon. It helps to empower families to get all the help that they need when their child has been diagnosed with a disability. You actually call and speak with a learning specialist. In most cases, these are parents of students that have disabilities, so they know firsthand, they have firsthand knowledge. They're up to date with both laws in our state as well as laws in our country, so they can give you all the resources that you need if you're struggling with any sort of finding out legislation or just even wanting to meet up with other parents to go through similar situations they are involved as well. Also, another great resource for families and teachers are blogs and Facebook posts. These are a lot of times, sometimes you have to be careful they're not factual, but they can provide some great information on people who have been through what you're going through or have been through like different situations for the educators. So really there's a lot out there for families. Special education has come a long way in this country, so it's a great thing now that we have all these different acts and legislation that is going to help our students be the best that they can be. Thank you.